What up, everybody? So today I was thinking of doing something a bit different from the usual. Just had this like random idea of watching some tutorials on stream and kind of recreating the sounds from those tutorials, and to do some layout editing, but it should be pretty quick. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll be putting the links to all the videos in the description below. So let's hop on here and let's see. Let's see what. Yo, thanks for the follow. Let's see what this looks like. If I just have the kind of video like something like that. Or that. This might work since I don't really need the mixer channel for this. So maybe I'll do like just have this here and then I just wanna add like quick text box here. Add a new source. like currently watching. Gonna start out with the Alckemy. And gonna drop his Twitch link in there as well. Let's see what's good. Yeah, that's probably a good font size. Let's plop it like under the board there. Something like that is probably pretty good. So I think I'll get rid of the good old royalty-free music and jump into the video. So I'm gonna start with this tutorial, which was released like half an hour ago. This is a Neuro-based tutorial for Phaseplant, but I don't have Phaseplant, so we're gonna reverse engineer some stuff and figure out how to make it work. Also, if anyone has like cool tutorials to share, feel free to drop a link in the old chats.
Hey, if you've been considering getting something from Kilohearts, click on the affiliate link below and type in Alckemy in the coupon section for 10% off your purchase.
Hell yeah, ad spot. So we're gonna be doing some wonky Neuro-based stuff.
What's good, everybody? My name is Alckemy, and if this is your first time to the channel, then I'd like to give you a nice warm welcome. Consider dropping a follow and a like, and ask questions in the comment section if at any point of this tutorial you get lost, because there's, well, it happens. So without further ado, this base was made in Phaseplant. You guys all know that I am a huge proponent of it. Just
gonna quickly pause and drop in an instance of Serum, because that's what I'll be kind of using for this, and trying to figure out how to make this patch work in Serum.
Because of the sheer amount of things that you can do within just inside of the box, and we'll be covering how to synthesize this base from the beginning. So I'm going to turn off all of these effects and we'll talk about where to start. First thing that you'll do is you'll create a group, and on the analog section you're just going to use a sine with a unison detuning of 55 cents. I like to use the synthetic. It just makes it seem like the tearing aspect of it, of what you would get from an section. You're just going to use a sine with a unison detuning of 55 cents.
Let me grab this. I wonder if the detuning is the same in let's grab Serum manual. And just quickly check out the detune. Unison settings, page 42. Range in semitones, static oscillators, unison, blah 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 blah. Let me see. Oh, on the global tab you can find more advanced unison settings. Oh, there we go. So unison range will cover between 0 and 48 semitones. Default value is 2 semitones. So I think yeah, so one semitone is 100 cents. So if the tutorial asks us to put the detune at like 55 cents, that's around 0.25.
I like to use the synthetic. It just makes it seem like the tearing aspect of it, of what you would get. You guys all know that I am a huge proponent of this. We'll be covering where to start. First thing that you'll do is you'll create a group, and on the analog section, you're just going to use a sign with a unison detuning of 55 cents. I like to use the synthetic. It just makes it seem like the tearing aspect of it, of what you would get from a normal reed, sounds a lot better. But if you're
okay, so let's see what is a Kilohearts Phaseplant synthetic detune. Let's see, is there like okay, manual, is it online somewhere? Operator's manual, hell yeah. Unison I'm not sure if it's explained here, like what the like synthetic unison mode actually does. Wasn't in that chapter. Whoops. Okay, maybe it's not actually opened up in the manual. Okay, so I'm just gonna assume the unison mode doesn't really matter.
just playing a detune sign on its own, it's not going to sound that great. So what you would do is grab another wavetable. For this in particular, I used what's called Ghosts. It's from a biomorphic table that I think I got on sale. So
let's grab let's grab a random wavetable. Let's take that one, maybe. I want to get something that kind of resembles that shape, but also something kind of different. Maybe that.
Somewhere for serum for like $1 or so, I don't remember, but basically I'm using this to FM the sine wave, and then I'm using a randomizer over here to basically randomize the full amount of the wavetable, and you can do that by clicking on the gold star there. From that, the full amount of the wave.
Okay, so we're gonna FM from B here. And it's gonna sound absolutely sick. So what this tutorial will also do is it's gonna use a lot of randomized stuff. So Serum doesn't really have the same kind of randomization as Phaseplant does, but we can kind of make do with these like chaos thingies. Okay.
And you can do that by clicking on the gold star there. From that point on, I have another randomizer over here that is just kind of cycling through the frame over this way, so you'll see this kind of move whenever we play it.
Okay, so let's... Also, I don't think that was actually the thing that we want to change. So let's randomize this. It's gonna sound like that.
And then the other stuff here is just a noise oscillator that is at 4%. You want to keep this pretty low because otherwise...
Okay, I assume that's gonna be like white noise, so... Something like that.
Otherwise it's going to just sound really washed out. The filter notch that I do here is honestly one of my favorite things about Phaseplant. With a slope of 6 and then the ability to randomize the resonance and the cutoff, you end up getting some really big sweeps and kind of like notches that open and close.
Okay, let's see. Is there like okay, so I can't really like have this notch filter be as kind of randomized as the one in Phaseplant, but I can kind of make do with this like just randomizing the cutoff and the resonance.
And it sounds really good whenever you kind of like have this big wide amount of movement and then you of course throw a distortion after it. The reason why this is moving is because the wavetable itself is.
So let's throw in a distortion. I kind of just want to find like a interesting sounding distortion here. That kind of has that like buzzy Neuro quality to it.
Is moving, but nothing is actually being automated on this. So onto the effects, we have a 3-band EQ that's boosting the lows and the highs of this.
Let's see, can I like change these somehow? It does kind of leave a bit of something to be desired, but okay.
We have a slice EQ.
3-band EQ, so let's just throw in this one, boost some lows. And some highs. Hopefully something like that.
That is kind of being randomized across all of these things, and what I almost.
So I think now is the time when I break out of Serum and grab Actually, I think what I'll do is, because I don't have Max 4 Live, so I can't use like I can't like really modulate stuff in like for Ableton stock effects, but I can throw in a Serum effects rack and throw in an EQ and get a notch filter, a peak filter going. Does this show the scale of this? So this is like what, plus 6 dB? Possibly, and then it's just gonna sweep like the kind of low end of it. Wait, does they God. Can I not like automate stuff in Serum effects with like, or like use these LFOs for stuff? Because that's kind of a, oh, there we go. Okay, so for whatever reason you have to enable this note latch thingy here, and then you can use these LFOs. Is my Serum FX not updated to like the version that has LFO randomization? That's really peculiar if you ask me. So we're just gonna have this like kind of, well, I can make new points here and that's gonna be kind of pseudo random.
Almost always do is I have a boost, a notch where it's performing the same action as like the resonance, and then these are just different randomizers that are pitting against each other. So as the cutoff of the peak moves up, the cutoff of the notch will typically move down, and then
Oh, okay, so I think if I just have this like the opposite. Wait, is there not a right, that's how you create a notch filter. Okay.
the resonance on the side of the notch is kind of just moving on its own. This one is really big, especially if you want it to kind of sound like it's kind of morphing and stuff. Is like you're going to throw a reverb into this, and I know what you might be thinking, like, dude, why would you do this, especially when you know that like you're not supposed to have bass on your low end. And to kind of counteract that, we open up an instance of multipass where we make sure that the low end is in mono. So from here I am using a high pass filter that's again being randomized, same notch filter trick, band pass that's kind of just doing its own thing, and then a disperser, chorus, and phaser.
Okay, so I think we'll do that. I'll do a little bit of fine tuning on these like peaks here. Let's see if I can kind of get.
Why would you do this, especially when you know that like you're not.
Okay, the mix is randomized for the reverb. Probably looks like something like maybe 15 to 20% max. And for this, let's do another. Kind of thing like that. wonder if I really missed a Okay, I just got a DM from Alckemy saying that the reverb goes to 100. Okay, what's next?
Not supposed to have bass on your low end, and to kind of counteract that, we open up an instance of multipass where we make sure.
Okay, so now I break out of Serum to get that like multi-band processing going. So let's make this, just save the project for now, and also let's group these, save these, call it void Neuro base, and so what I'll actually do is I'll get Ableton's stock multi-band dynamics and just kinda have like a chain of these so that we get low, mid, bottom, and high. And for the low, we'll just solo this, and solo that. I love getting support from Alckemy on Discord DM as I'm going through this. I also apparently only need 2 bands for this one. So let's make like I guess disabling the high should give us wait, disabling the lows in here. Yeah. Yeah, this way we have 2 bands.
That the low end is in mono. So from here, I am using a...
Was there a cutoff frequency somewhere?
This is an instance of multipass where we make sure that the low end is in mono. So from here, I am...
Okay, just some arbitrary description of low end. It's probably something like around that. that's how you get it to cut the lows. Whoops.
Using a high pass.
Then we high pass the thingy. I wonder if I have any. Let's check if there's like an free EQ with randomization. I don't have max for life. And for context, that was me replying to Alckemy, asking me why not use LFO max for life. Do I have Melda equalizer? I do. Does it have kind of ways to LFO? Also, I should probably specify that I'm not looking for randomization. I'm looking for LFO. Oh god. Oh right, auto filter has the thingy. Yeah, there we go. Auto filter has a random thingy. Let's click it over the. Let's make something like that.
Filter that's again being randomized. Same notch filter trick. Band pass. That's kind of.
What notch filter thing? Oh, yeah, it's just all randomized stuff. That was for the other band. That's wacky.
High pass filter that's again being randomized. Same notch filter trick. Band pass that's kind of just doing its own thing, and then
Band pass doing its own thing.
disperser, chorus, and phaser. There's some
so I think for as a substitute for a disperser, there is this one, which is just like a shit ton of EQ3s.
compression on the end, doing its own thing, and then a disperser, chorus, and phaser. There's some
Chorus and phaser. Let's increase the feedback a little bit to get that like metallic vibe to it.
compression on the end, and then
Compression, I think. Yeah, that's just like your good old compression. Create a dry chain of the whole signal. Like just group everything and then create a dry chain of everything after serum? Question mark. Just filters. Something like that. Then I could yeah. I also made that like completely opposite. This needs to be like this.
As you can see over here, the mix is kind of being automated, so that way the bandpass isn't totally destroying or like cutting too much of the sound out.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So basically this this rack kind of exists on its own thingy, and well, you could technically like automate this after everything. So kind of do like a rackception and do like wet and dry of this, and then for the dry just yeet this. There's one way to kind of FM should be, yeah, it's a bit, well, it's 46, so it should be like 30 max apparently. Yeah, like this wave table is bit just random stuff. I think if you like I think this is how you can make like so now we have a wet dry control for that thing, and let's rename this dry wet. Okay, what's next?
From here, we have a comb filter, and I like to use this if you want to get more metallic sounds, but
let's see, do I have a comb filter plugin, or should I just use like a really short delay on low mix would work as well, yeah. Let's maybe do something like that.
I try not to sweep the entire frequency range. I kind of just like to keep it close to where it's, I guess, like root note is, which this isn't exact, but it's close to F, and so that's kind of where that cycles around. Finally, to make this more flat, it needs to open and close in as many ways as possible, so there's just a low pass filter that is also doing some of that same automation. The multipass on this is just
let's just throw another. Whoops. My trigger happy control save, control S, surprised me once again. Okay. So I assume these different lanes are like, are they parallel processing or in series? They're serial, okay. That is sick.
for kind of like an OTT, I guess. It's a really stupid name. I said kind of
Let's make our own Ocarina of Time.
at a time, but really all you have to do is take the overachiever preset and turn off band 1 and 5, and then pull this over to 3 kilohertz.
That's like 3K.
And then pull this over to 250 hertz.
250. Something like that.
And then mess with the mix, and then it's pretty much as close to an OTT.
So I assume this is kind of how it works there, and then just like kind of mess around with these. I do have an OTT preset, but I've gotten into the habit of making my own OTT.
Within Phaseplant as you can get. Although it's not going to be the same, it will give you a little bit more high end. So if I were to play this without it, and then if I were to play it with, it's pretty subtle, but I can tell the difference. So the next thing that we have is an instance of dynamics. Dynamics is great. It is just, I love this thing. It can do both upwards and downwards compression. In this case, I'm kind of just pulling this at a 2:1 ratio, and then here are my settings. So I'm pushing the gain up, and then I'm pushing the gain up again on a limiter, and
I think this is just like
here are my settings. So I'm pushing the gain. Okay, so I'm kind of just pulling this at a 2:1 ratio, and then here are my settings. So
is that like another multi-band compressor or just like a normal? Okay, it's just a single band multi-band dynamic. Bit of both upward and downward. Seek.
I'm pushing the gain up, and then I'm pushing the gain up again on a limiter, and that's pretty much the sound.
So mine got like kind of quite different, but that's also mainly because I don't have the same tools that do the same things. But that's still like a super interesting sound that has like plenty of uses. Could mess around with like stuff. Especially that like disperser and all the like time-based effects on the thing here gonna make it super interesting. See, now let's I think I'll break this group and then just like group everything here and save that as the new void Neuro base. Yes, I want to overwrite.
Stuff you can of course add.
So this is kind of closer to like what you'd typically have on like a Neuro base. Mine is more like just a really interesting experiment in like metallic tones and stuff. I think if I'll ever make like a super stanky Neuro EP or something, I'll just abuse this rack. Just with like how many different tones you can get by just like changing this wavetable around. Okay. Let's see what's next. So that took like an hour to go through a 6-minute tutorial, which is pretty funny. Let's see if there's another tutorial that kind of piques my interest. Oh, there's like a serum tutorial in Ableton. That might be interesting. Base tutorials. Delay monster base. Is this the one?
Hey, what's good, family? How is everyone doing?
Hell yeah. Okay. So let's quickly just set up a new track. Let's call this the serum monster base. And throw in serum.
We've got some really cool stuff to cover today. I'm going to be showing you how I made this monster bass. I can't play this for you because it's something super top secret that I'm working on, and I don't want to show it to you, but let's take a look at how this bass sounds.
Oh, that's sick.
Pretty sick. So it still needs a little bit of work as far as when it's being implemented in the mix.
That would be super interesting for like kind of groovy like IDM stuff where you have like those kind of rises and kind of reverb decays and stuff like that. Kind of start to rise on the kick and then go into like a snare hit on like a halftime stuff.
Or whatever, but there's a couple things that we can look at that give you this really cool tone. So let's go ahead and dive in. Before I do that, try to like and subscribe and all that. Okay, hold on. I'd really appreciate it,
Remember
actually,
to
if you
smash
guys
that
were to share
subscribe
my
button.
content. Not so
Ring
much
the
that,
bell.
you know, like, of course I'm trying to build my YouTube channel and all that stuff, but I really believe in what I do, and I think that I'm putting a lot of information out there that you might not be able to Google otherwise. And yeah, I just, thanks. Okay, super simple. We have a sub. There's some white noise on here with this level and this way. We have a sine wave that has a detune of unison 4. The FM is up to this, and we're using ReCMS1, which you can find in Spectral on the wavetables here. ReCMS1 from Seamless. Shout out to that guy. He taught me a lot.
Oh wait. That one. FM from B. That one.
Also on his YouTube channel. So there is a little bit of movement that's going on between these two, and I believe that this one is coming from, let's see. Yeah, so this is being modulated by LFO1. It's just moving up and down like that ever so slightly. From that point on, we have a filter that's on just oscillator A. On its own, also on the noise as well, and that is giving us this movement pattern here. And I've on the noise as well, and that is giving us this movement pattern.
Okay, so let's make a thingy like that, and that seems to have a bit of a slope like that. And apparently there's like something like that.
Pattern.
This is also like quite slow
here, and I've talked about this before, but you can just double click into points to get this. Notice that it's on 2 bars, so it's coming in slow. The real magic that's actually happening isn't even most of this stuff. It's actually the delay. That is going to be our key factor in what makes this bass super interesting. So if I turn these other ones off, let's just listen to how the delay sounds.
Sick.
That sounds awesome. So what's happening is that I have the delay set to really short, and I'm kind of giving this a little bit of automation. And
what's the values on that? It's like, oh, that's like really slow.
And as this moves up and down, I'm automating the mix. So what happens is you short. That sounds awesome. So what's happening is that I have the delay set to really short, and I'm kind of giving this.
Oh, it's really short. Sorry. Like that.
A little bit of automation, and as this moves up and down, I'm automating the mix.
Is there like a thing to oh yeah, that's what you use.
So what happens is you kind of get something that's like a pseudo comb filter. Now it's not actually comb filtering, but you are kind of moving the delay to give it a super metallic sound. So I wonder what happens even if I just use this on a sine. So I guess you get a little bit of it, but if you have some harmonics for that to cut through, then you get some really cool stuff. So yeah, the feedback's up here. This is being automated onto, let's see, on LFO2.
Oh, it's another LFO for this one.
Just moving over the course of a bar, and then this is following the filter pattern. Pretty simple, yeah. There is some EQ movement that is notching that's following along. Then we have
okay, just a notch filter.
some distortion.
Oh, that's didn't notice there was actually this was a just a low shelf, and this was the notch one. So like that.
And I think that I also had some compression on this. Okay. So I actually didn't use the multiband on that because there was too much high end that was being brought out of that. And I chose to ignore it. There is one more thing to talk about high end that was being brought. Okay, so I actually didn't use the multiband on that because there was too much high end that was being brought out of that. And I chose to ignore it. There is one more thing to talk about that is really cool. So if you look here, I am actually boosting the crap out of these low mids right here to accentuate some of the monster tones, which you've seen me do before, but whenever this plays, so what's happening is as I'm using this, it's working as a boost. So if I play this, you can see that those frequencies are being exaggerated by quite a bit. So if you sweep the low frequency here, then you're going to get some really cool low vocal movement. That's a little bit much. And
a womp.
That's just one of those cool tricks that you can use. So if I set this here and then we play this, you'll see how this sweeps, which is pretty neat. And then the last thing that I've done is just to give it just a little bit of stereo on the high end, which is right here. The decay is relatively short with half mix.
Let's throw in just a stock reverb. What's that? $700 milliseconds each.
And that just kind of makes it sound short with half mix.
Something like that.
And that just kind of makes it sound like it's in an actual space. I did do a variation here, which looks like this. Open. And that is all pretty much the same thing. I think the only difference is that the LFO pattern. Yeah, cool. And then of course there's some pitch bending here. So one thing that I've found with pitch bending is that instead of like going in and clicking on a node and then dragging this up and doing that, is just click where you want it to be. That's one of the cool things about Ableton, is you can just do this and then kind of gauge it where you want it, and it works really well when you're doing something with precise time of blocks. So you can set the beat grid to something that's relatively small, and then kind of just
you can actually
work your
do
way
that
with it. The contrast on that isn't
which
very
is really
deep,
sick.
but yeah, I hope that all that makes sense. But anyways, guys, yeah, I wanted to keep this video relatively short. I think that this is
So this is actually pretty interesting. I want to try like so let's just save these as like I forgot the distortion. Whoops.
on the EQ, then we have some distortion.
Okay, it's just like pretty much the stock. Yes. So I wanted to try maybe like throwing in an OTT and then like doing something like that, and then just like if I increase the tempo a little bit, maybe something like, well, 152, sure. And if I just make like something like that, and then go here, actually go here, increase the pitch bend range, and then do some wonky bendy stuff. So I have to start at 50 and then oh god, edit value 50. Hold on, what's the range on this thing? Why doesn't the clip want me to go like it can only go down in pitch apparently. have no idea how to fix that. I think Wook was having the same problem on like one of his streams. But I think you can do it here. Yeah, here it's set to 50%, so that also sounds pretty interesting. I guess kind of threading into like koan sound territory. Okay, so that's 2 Alckemy tutorials down. I think I'll take a short break now and come back in a few minutes. Let's throw in some good old lo-fi hip-hop for the enjoyment of your ears. Hello there. Let's continue our tutorial binge. Maybe I'll check out if there's maybe one more Alchemy tutorial to watch. Dark trip hop drums sounds pretty interesting. Could definitely use with kind of learning more about drum processing. Maybe I'll check that out.
All you people over here talking about lo-fi that, hey dog, you listen to lo-fi and chill, bro? Are you stocked up on your beats to study too? But one thing that nobody is talking about is trip hop drums, and that's something that I think that while lo-fi came from a long time ago, one other big component of that is also trip hop in itself. And the last video that I think somebody uploaded regarding this, to even close to this, was Julian Earl, and then after that it was like A Boy in a Band, maybe. Shout out to those guys for trying to, you know, put trip hop on the map. But yo, so today I'm going to show you guys how to make some old, dusty, crusty, busty drums that sound like this.
Yo, that's pretty dope.
Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind is that my personal taste, as you can see over here on the oscilloscope, there's a lot of transients in that, but typically within older stuff, like for the most part, a lot of those transients are removed, which we'll talk about here in a second. But let's go ahead and just jump into how to make some old, crusty, dusty, busty drums. So the first thing that I have done is I pulled up an instance of Addictive Drums 2. There are a few effects. Don't be intimidated by that. You guys know how this goes. We'll go through each one. But if you don't have Addictive Drums, if you have Superior Drummer, that also helps. Or you can use a sample. We should kind of be over this, because on the very first video that I've ever uploaded,
how much is Addictive Drums? I do have Get Good Drums, so I can probably okay, yeah, that does cost some money. I really want to get the new Get Good Drums library. The One Kit Wonder at some point. My only problem is that I just bought like quite a bit of gear, so I'm just gonna upgrade like kind of my quote-unquote studio setup first. I'm getting a new mic and stuff like that. So I don't want to spend too much money, but maybe if my Twitch blows up and I get massive $40 out of Twitch, then I can maybe buy something nice for myself. So with that, I'll open up my instance of Contact here, and actually I need to update this rack a little bit, because there's a bit of stuff I think missing from the setup that I've made for this. So I have a tutorial for like how I made this instrument rack. It's up on my YouTubes. If you go here and check this one, so this is kind of where I go over how I made that instrument rack. So if you're interested in like the more detailed run through of that rack, it's up there. So let's see, what hits do I have here? Kick and snare stuff, and I think I have all the I have all these tom hits, but some cymbal hits I think are kind of missing. I didn't route all of these hi-hat hits, which I've actually kind of been wanting to get. So hi-hat tip closed is the oh, also I'm gonna route these like pedal, chick, and ching. And what they sound like is let me find they're like these kind of, where as a drummer you press the like hi-hat pedal with your foot to make these chick chick and ching ching sound. So I especially want this like kind of more loose sound, so that's tip loose. also the edge loose. And oh, I don't even have these like proper open ones, so tip open. Yeah, and edge open. And then I'll maybe just have like these like really wide hits. Tip wide and edge wide. So that should be most of that one. So what that rack actually does is it gives all of these MIDI lanes a name, and it also like kind of stacks them. So with just like default setup, if you load up just Contact on a new MIDI track and then try to program drums on that, you get just like C0, C sharp 0, D0, etc., until like the 8th octave, and you kind of have to like kind of memorize where different hits are, or kind of search around them by just like dragging these notes around. But with this rack you can just see that, well, this note here is the kick note. So let's continue with the thingy.
To YouTube, I talked about how to make like Neuro drums and stuff, and granted that's a little bit outdated, but the same thing applies. All you need is basically just some dry drums of some sort, and that's what this sounds like. That's amazing. Beautiful. So the only thing that there is a little bit of is the tail end on a snare, which is totally fine. If you like need to cheese it, then you can actually like cut a snare out and then push a transient shaper sustain up a little bit, so don't worry about that. But everything else is just kind of relatively dry. There is some snare buzz on here, and the only thing to keep in mind is that there's some compression and EQ on the kick, some compression and EQ on the snare, and that's about it. Also, you can see here that my overheads are completely turned down, and there's just a little bit of room on both. Okay, that's like an overall thing. Never mind.
I also need to save this before I just like fuck up. So there we go. And this should also be saved to the thingy. Yep, it's in the utility instruments tag. So let's write some super basic drums. Just like kind of 1-2 feel. Whoops.
I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, just some old regular acoustic style drums. They're not hard to find. You can literally go on like freesound.org and find something interesting like that. So once you do that, you want to think about like MIDI stuff, and to get this particular kind of beat, it basically is going to sound like this when it's dry. And to get the swing, one thing that I found that's really helpful or beneficial is if we zoom in, everything is on grid except for 2 beats, and that's this hi-hat right here. Right there. That's the only thing that you need in order to swing that. That's all you need in order to get that kind of swingy drum beat right here. If you want to swing it more, you definitely can. You can break it as much as you want. But the reason why I wanted to cover this is because sometimes, like even for me, if you guys have seen like me complain on the Discord or whatever, sometimes it's really hard for me to figure out how to get like that particular style of swing, especially if you have an affinity towards a different specific one. Like it's really easy for me to make Flying Lotus type beats, because that's what I was listening to like right before I started making music, and that's what I spent all my time trying to do. But with this, just kind of push back that second open hat just a little bit, or sorry, that closed hat. That's it. You can
some swing, eh?
also, I guess you can also push this one a little bit late as well. So these two right here, but it's the same instrument. That's all it is. So yeah, way too much time spent on that. Now let's go ahead and get into the processing. If you're in Bitwig, you're in luck. Well, hopefully you have an upgrade plan. I guess you can still use a beta as well, but Saturator is awesome. This one looks really weird, and I'm not really going to go through the mechanics of it, but the difference between this one is that it's a wave shaper, but instead of like having control, instead of having control over like pulling this outward, you have some knobs that kind of control the quiet and loud parts of the sound. And so basically I'm taking quiet sounds that are at minus 30 decibels and not really doing anything with it, just kind of leaving it there, and then taking the loud parts that's minus 10 decibels, a little bit of knee, you can sharp knee, soft knee, so yeah, just something like that, and pulling the drive up. And the reason why I'm not really going into detail of explaining this kind of thing is honestly, like, I know how to use it intuitively, but as far as like what's actually happening, you're basically just controlling the peak levels of the loud and quiet sounds and trying to match something in that way, and I don't really know how to explain that in a deeper way, so I apologize.
Okay, so that seems to be a just a kind of default stock effect for Bitwig, so I think I'll just use like the saturator here, even though it's not like the same thing, but you know. Maybe we can still use Wave Shaper. Gonna get more grit to it, which I assume is the...
So the output is right here, and then this little chain thing is normalizing the sound, otherwise it looks like... So that's just kind of like it's not necessarily a clipper, but it will normalize the sound in some way. So anyways, just put some saturator saturation on it. If you have Ableton, do a soft sine. If you don't have Ableton and you have like Saturn, that would be totally fine too. I'd recommend tape saturation and just boost the gain.
Let's do a soft saturation, soft sine.
Or the output a little bit. Alright, so the next thing that we're doing on this is not a whole lot. I boosted the attack by 16%. You can't even tell, and the only reason why I knew that is because I can look at the bottom of the screen. There is some sustain that is being reduced on here by minus 27%.
Okay, so that's a transient controller. I think I can use like drum bass for this. I feel like that's kind of this, well, kind of give the same effect maybe. Of like normalizing everything and kind of boosting the transient.
And that's just trying to control a little bit of that tail because we have that ringy style snare that's kind of flowing out. The next thing that we have is an OTT. I like the X for Records ones because boohoo, I'm not using Ableton. Just use Ableton if you have it, it's totally fine. And I've just kind of turned the depth down to like 24%. This one is going to make a big difference if you want to make it crusty and dusty. If you don't have this, it's totally fine. Don't go buy it. Just go get iZotope vinyl. It's absolutely free. And I think that Bitwig, like with the new like color sound thing or whatever that they just came out with not too long ago, they have a tape machine. So the big thing that you're looking for is the wow and lo-fi, and you can just add a compressor on the end, but this will kind of give it a little bit of warping. So that's the difference between that. There's a free tape machine actually on Max for Live devices, and I think that it's a
I think I'll just throw in iZotope vinyl. Let's add some warp and shit.
free one. It's called Tapeify. I don't know if it's still available or not, but you can find it there. So next up we have Glue, which is a glue compressor. I miss Ableton. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I really don't for the most part. But this is just soft clipping this and just kind of boosting the makeup gain to where you see this peaking in red just ever so slightly. And then next up we've got some EQ. And this is going to kind of cut the low end frequencies and the high end frequencies off to make it more lo-fi-ish.
That's like 50 something hertz on the low end and
EQ, and this is going to ish the low end frequencies and the high end frequencies off.
get this like 14K. Nice.
To make it more lo-fi-ish. And so like the thing with lo-fi, or the thing with trip hop and lo-fi actually, is that you want to figure out a sweet spot with cutting the drums but not making it sound like it's filtered. And that's probably like the hardest thing that you're going to find with this, is what frequencies can I get away with cutting. On this one, I think that I did pretty okay with about like 14K and just doing a relatively soft roll, and then 60 hertz, let's just say, kind of rolling that off a little bit as well. And that's just enough to where it's not sounding too filtered. So the soothe is entirely optional. You guys don't really need that. You can just use a multi-band compressor if you like, or you can use another instance of multi-band dynamics or OTT or FabFilter Pro MB. But soothe 2 is just kind of taking out some of the harshness of this, and you'll see in these little like cool little notches. You almost can't tell the difference, to be honest. It just gives you that little bit of an edge. So
I think like what at the moment differentiates most in my thing is that the cymbals are like super loud. So let's just cut out like some of this shit. Think I want the mid band to be something like that.
don't disregard that. You don't really need that. This is also free. It's called G-Clip, and not to be confused with something else. But what this is a clipper, and this is actually going to help you control the dynamics, or sorry, the peaks of your actual sound. And it's different. Baphometrics had a really great video on that. If you just because you throw a soft clip function on something, like let's say a saturator or the glue compressor, it doesn't actually tame the peaks of some of these things. So whenever you use a dedicated clipper, then it will actually cut these little centipede legs off and help control this a little bit better without making it sound like the volume is reduced. And that's kind of what you're going for. And even if you do reduce it a little bit, you can do what we did right here and boost that up with a FabFilter Pro L2, which is just a limiter. So just turn the makeup gain up. I have mine set to punchy with a long attack and short release. Some nice old school sounding doofages. After that, I bounced it out and did two more things. Yeah, two more things. So the first thing is that I've gone and taken out some more filtering, and I actually cut this at 6.15 kilohertz or G7. That's kind of cool that it will tell you that little thing. You guys see that at the bottom? Sorry. And then I've added a little bit of bit crushing. And that's kind of optional how much you want to cut that or how old you want to make it sound, but that seems to have done the trick for me, and I think that that kind of worked out pretty well.
Okay, let's do a quick old plug-in rescan to get the G-clip thingy. Spooky Ableton plugin rescan, where everything just like freezes. for a second. Maybe I'll like continue this project on the next words next stream, and kind of make like a gritty Neuro based thingy. With like this kind of drum pattern, and then that bass going like whoa. That might be pretty sick, if you ask me. So let's go here and find our. Wait, what's LMOTT? Oh no! Oh, I had no idea I had this OTT skin. Oh my god. Oh, all the humanity. Oh god, what? Excuse me. I just wanted to open a plugin. Oh jeez. Shout out to Ableton Live for doing that. Apparently I'm not allowed to open whatever plugin that was. Limiter 6. No, I don't want to report. So okay. I want to put this to utilities. G-clip utilities, and also here. I think that's what the kids call a pog moment. The kids being me. I am the kid all along. Okay. Then I don't know. Maybe I'm done with this for now. So that's 3 tutorials down. I'll just update my notes for YouTube. And just kind of throw that in there. And I think I'll watch one more tutorial and then call it a day for today. Let's hit up Man from Seoul, who is a sick glitch producer, and also makes cool tutorials and stuff. Let's update the thingy. Oops. Like that. And I wanted to check this this video that does some wacky stuff with delay and auto tune, and I think need to check if I have a auto tune from Melder. Or if that's the yeah, auto pitch is the thing, I think. Yep. Cool. So let's check this out.
Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you how to make metallic timbers and sculpt them using delay and some other stuff. So here is a bass sound that I made without the effect, and then I'll play it again with the effect. So here it is without. Okay, and here it is with.
That's pretty sick. Let me drop a like on the video.
So let's go back to the bass sound real quick, just so we know what we're working with. This is a standard sine compression type deal. I have a sine. I'm distorting it and running a bunch of notches around it.
I think I want to try
compressing the final product, putting it out, a little bit of noise in the chain somewhere. That's good. So typical sine compression, it's boring. I wouldn't use this sound straight up. I would do a lot of post-processing to get it to sound cool. But so let's get into what this delay thing's actually doing. So let's enable this. So here's the effects patch. Normally I would, so because this is the bass sound here is originally in a patcher here.
So let's quickly yeet these audio tracks, and I want to use this bass that we made earlier as the kind of bass for this. Oh. That's pretty interesting when you play a bass patch, but like a few too many octaves up.
Normally I would just include all this crap inside of here, but for the sake of keeping things isolated for this tutorial, I'll show it all here. So there's the major thing going on here is that we have a delay, and in the delay we have we have the time amount, and then we have the level, or the feedback level. And so by playing with these, so if you turn off the tempo sync of the delay and you just are working in the orders of milliseconds, which you can see up here, right now it's at 23.3, you can get metallic timbers. I don't know exactly why this is. I think it has something to do with when you get delays so with such small time values, they destructively interfere in such a way that the non-harmonic phasing of it, I don't really know. It makes it sound metallic. That's all you need to worry about. So
yes,
I'm
facts.
modulating these two parameters, the time and then the level, using these knobs. If you'll see here though, it's not 1-to-1, so the time knob, when I have it all the way up to 100, it only goes up to about here. I have it at basically 60 milliseconds. Anything more than
60 or 16.
60 milliseconds, and you can actually start
60.
to hear the individual delay feedbacks.
Okay.
And so that's not what we're going for here. So anything below about 60 is where it still sounds like one cohesive
Okay, I think
sound.
I'll do
You
that.
can't hear the individual delays.
So let's throw this.
And I did that with the envelope controller.
And let's map to macro 1. And then change this to max to be like 60 milliseconds.
I'll go over that in a sec. For the feedback, I have it, so 0 I have at 50%, and then here it's going into the orange. 100% here is about 102, yeah, so 102% of the level. You want this level to be kind of high, but you don't want to be too high. Really, whatever delay plugin you're working with, you're going to have to just find the sweet spots on your own. So if you're not using this Fruity Delay 3, then you'll have to do some experimenting. But you know that I encourage experimenting because that's what my channel's all about, so figure it out yourself. The other important thing going on here, or two important things. One is that, so the actual feedback, like starting volume, well, I guess technically, I mean, it's the input volume, but this basically controls like how strong the delays are from the get-go, from the first initial delay. I've turned that down a little because I find that having it too high makes it a little too aggressive, but again, experiment, figure out what works. But the other important thing is that this keep pitch button is enabled. So what this is doing is that as you move this around the time value, what happens is that it's all happening, the delays are happening in such, and by delays I mean echoes, the echoes are happening in such quick succession to each other that they take on like a tonal character that
Okay.
you may not desire necessarily, especially as you're moving the value around. And so when you click on keep pitch, it keeps them all the same pitch. I don't know exactly what pitch it's keeping them to. I tried looking it up on the manual for this plugin.
Okay, so by virtue of me not having this specific delay, I don't think I can really, or well, maybe it's like just having the mode not on repitch, but I might have a bit of different results.
And it wasn't very specific, so I don't know how it chooses what to keep them at, but I don't really care. So it sounds cool to have it enabled, but let's listen again with it disabled. So actually here, real quick, let's go with it enabled again. And let's disable it. And it's going to sound a lot more pitch bendy, for lack of a better word.
Okay, so let's do that. Just I think I'll do like just one kind of note here, and then let's automate the this one. Let's go like this, then do like a little dip there, and then go like quite high up. Then maybe do like a slope like that, then go back up. I don't really have the same like super harmonically rich bass sound as in this video. The one I'm using is kind of doesn't have as much like those super high up harmonics. Might try bringing them up with like OTT.
Yeah, doing. So that sounds really cool too, and if that sound works better for what you're going for, then by all means, please do that. But let's say you're using a different delay plugin that's not this, and it doesn't have this kind of keep pitch feature. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to show you another option. So we're going to leave this off, close this. Here, real quick, let me go over the envelope controller. I've gone over this in, I think, my last video, at the very least, if not other ones too. But basically, each one of these articulators, you can assign their output value with respect to the global macros here. So for the first time value, 0 corresponds to 0, but 100% on the knob, on the macro knob, corresponds to only this percentage of output. And then for the Y macro, I have this kind of curve. So yeah, and that's controlling that. But anyways, so let's say we have, you know, this keep pitch off. We're gonna take a pitcher in FL. It's called they have a plugin called Pitcher. Yeah, Pitcher. Here it is, and it's basically like auto tune. You feed it in an input sound, a tonal sound. I mean, it doesn't have to be tonal. You can actually get some really cool effects when you auto tune a not tonal sound. But anyways, it detects the pitch of whatever's coming into it, and in real time, it corrects it to an output pitch. You can set it up here such that it only outputs to like a certain note. So if I only wanted to output to C, I just disable all these and it'll only go to C. Or if I enable F sharp too. This probably isn't the best example because this is all really low register stuff, but if you were to take a sine wave and pitch it up and down and have it just have it going woo 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 and then run it through one of these, it'll sound like beep 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 beep. So
the absolute perfect description of what an auto-tune does. Makes your woo 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 sound like beep 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 beep. Oh yeah, with the like re-pitch mode enabled on the delay paired with the auto tune kind of gives you this weird almost like a zippery sound. Oh, that's actually pretty sick.
what what you can what you could do to actually
Almost
use
sounds
this in
like a
musical context is
phaser
just
or something.
change this to the
different.
scale that your track is in. So if my track is in G minor, boom, now it'll all the I guess tonal stuff coming out of here will be corrected to the closest note that's in G minor. So however you want to do that is up to you. Whatever DAW you're using, it hopefully has something like this. There's probably some free ones out there. In fact, I know there are. There's one called, what's it called? I've been using one called Pitch Proof lately. I don't know if it can actually do real-time correction. I think it can. I mostly just...
Oh, I actually have that one as well. Let's see. Where's Pitch Proof? It's in here, and Pitch Proof. So so that's like Pitch Proof trying to kind of force everything into F, I think. You could probably use this like kind of try to get rid of some of the like more like watery tones of this thingy, and use it to kind of get like super weird growly monster voices. Especially on like pitch -12. That's it.
Use it for live repitching, but there's plenty of crap you can use. You'll find something. And so by doing this, you can also control the tonality of how this comes out. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Here, let's just say we're doing G minor, and let's listen to this again. Personally, I like the way it sounds better with the keep pitch, or even just without either the keep pitch or this pitcher, just kind of the bendy woo kind of thing. It has a formant count. It can account for formant here.
You can honestly like play with this stuff for forever. You'll always get like cool textures from just changing a little bit of something.
That sounds a lot better actually. So yeah, pretty simple trick, not much to it. I hope you learned something from it. Wait, real quick, also, one other thing I did is I low passed the dry signal, and by doing that you get more of that kind of metallic timbre shining through. You can choose how much or how little of the dry signal you let through, just based off how your sound is. And then here at the end is just a limiter. So yeah, so now I think that's everything. I think I've covered it all. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, or shoot me a message. Happy to answer them. If you have any suggestions for other topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that other bullshit. But yeah, that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Sick. Okay, I think that's it for today. I'll probably be continuing on this, like, kind of these stuff here, which do this. Maybe do something with those in the near future. But that being said, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I think I'm literally having like 1 viewer at the moment, so I'm probably not gonna bother with rating anyone. But hey, that's the life of being a streamer. Shoutouts to Alckemy and Man from Seoul for providing high quality tutorial content. Well, see you next time. Bye bye.